Little Princess, the Spoiled Princess by Sigel Adler, illustrated by Fairy M and Lintan Pandu. There once lived a king in a grand far-off palace, along with his daughter, the sweet Princess Alice. The king loved his daughter, gave her all he had, so she would be happy and never feel sad. He wanted to make her the happiest girl, but she didn't need one more diamond or pearl. So he called for a tailor who rode from afar to sew a new dress so she'd shine like a star. The tailor worked hard to stitch every seam. Frilly and jeweled, that dress was a dream. The king was thrilled with how it turned out. Now she'll be happy, he wanted to shout. The time came at last to give her the dress, the loveliest thing she could ever possess. He sent servants out to bring her to see the loveliest dress that there ever could be. When she held up the dress with its glitter and gold, she glanced at it like it was tattered and old. Then dropped the dress, it fell down in a pile, and the king didn't see a trace of a smile. The king, disappointed, set out to find a gift that could change the princess's mind. Maybe she's bored or she wants to keep cool. What she needs, he said, is a swimming pool. The king brought workers who sweated for weeks, digging then hauling in water from creeks. As Alice would frolic, she'd swim and she'd play. I'm sure that I'll see her sweet smile today. The princess stared at the pool's aqua brim, but she didn't look happy or dive in to swim. She dipped in one toe, then yanked it back out. It's cold, she complained, and gave him a pout. The king felt so sad, but then, oh, of course, I'll make her so happy, I'll give her a horse. He brought her his own, a black racing steed, just one little smile, that's all he'd need. She looked at the horse, with its mighty gait, and then she declared, It's not all that great. I wanted a different one, maybe pure white. No thanks, she said, this horse is not right. The king didn't know just what he should do to make Alice smile and stop feeling blue. So he rode off on a very great quest to a wise old man who always knew best. When he came back from those far distant lands, he greeted the princess with two empty hands, shrugged and said, I've done all I can, but you're still not happy, so here's a new plan. You must leave the palace where you once played. I found a poor family who all need your aid. Perhaps in their home you will breathe and run free, and learn how to smile far off by the sea. The princess started to wrinkle her nose. A poor family, a shack without fancy clothes. She left without saying goodbye to the king, though he had given her every good thing. The servants brought her to that distant town, then dropped her off, no sign of her crown. The girl went into the shack where they led, and saw the small room, the shower, the bed. This place was no good, it just made her mad, with its plain brown bread that tasted so bad. When the poor family all lay down to sleep, all she could do was feel sore and weep. That night she could barely get any rest, but she had no choice, she was stuck as a guest, and just when she finally started to snore, they awoke her to give her their very first chore. She tried to refuse, I'd rather just play. But they said, you must work to earn your stay. You're here to help, said your father the king. Now please fetch the things that we need you to bring. Here Alice worked, for there wasn't a choice. No one would listen if she raised her voice. Her hands went soft, grew bruised and cracked, and she wore out all of the dresses she'd packed. If she ever stopped or dared to complain, the mother told her so simple and plain, here we must work, those words ringing true. With two little boys there was so much to do. The princess no longer had all her fine clothes, just rags she could wear in the dirt if she chose. But despite this she still looked lovely and meek, and the sun by the sea put a blush in her cheek. Time passed, and nobody noticed at first that the spoiled princess who had been the worst now ran with the children who'd once only stayed away. She'd fly through the yard, always wanting to play. Alice, who'd once been so pampered and vain, now savored the things that were simple and plain, like the taste of strawberries, the touch of a hand. It gave her a feeling she did not understand. On her birthday, they all said, "Cover your eyes. Just wait and you'll see a lovely surprise." Of course, the princess wouldn't dare peek, but heard the door open with one gentle squeak. When she looked, eyes wide, she grinned in delight. Her father, the king, had traveled all night. He was amazed when he saw her broad smile. Tears of joy poured down his cheeks all the while. "I was wrong," the king said in a low voice and gruff. "You didn't need presents, that's just not enough. I promised to be there and spend time with you, and love you forever. Can we please start anew?" The princess wept as she gazed at his face. "I was wrong too, as I've learned in this place." They hugged a great hug and cried a bit more, and thanked the poor family, then opened the door. Their carriage waited to offer a ride, with a gift for the family tucked inside. "We don't need that," they said, eyeing the sack. "Please," said the king, "for I have Alice back." The princess promised to come back again, for leaving them truly caused her great pain. Got in the carriage and waved to depart, went back to the palace with love in her heart. And the sack the king left was filled up with gold, to care for them all as they played and grew old. Their family would never know hunger or need, for they'd given him love, the best gift indeed. Princess Jade, The Green Hand Adventures, written by Barbara Chagrin and Deborah Bradley, illustrated by I. Sanzal. Long, long ago, in a faraway land, a princess was born with a little green hand. A sweet hand it was, as cute as could be, but green, green, green as the leaves on a tree. The sorrowful king went to visit a witch. He asked her real nicely, "Can you fix this glitch?" "Of course," said the witch, "it's nothing so new. Here are the things that the princess must do. When Jade is age 1, she must visit the sun. Then when she's 2, she must move to a shoe. When she's 3, she must live in a tree. When she's 4, she must go and explore. The trickiest part will be when she's 5, for then she must visit a giant beehive. At last, when the princess reaches age 6, I'll fix her green hand with my magic with tricks." The baby Jade grew. The princess turned 1. The day had come, time to visit the sun. The big gentle bird flew Jade through the sky. A fluffy white cloud then carried her high. The cloud said, "Goodbye, my part is now done." The star that was waiting took Jade to the sun. The sun gave the princess a very warm greeting. "Welcome," it said. "I'm glad that we're meeting. But don't come too close, my dear royal tot, for I am like fire, so very hot. You might like to play in the sunbeams though. I'll turn the heat setting way down to low." Jade played in the beams. She had lots of fun. The baby Jade cried when her visit was done. The sun said to Jade, "Thanks for making this trip. I'm going to give you a magic hair clip. This magical clip has special power. You'll know when you need it, but not till that hour." Jade grew and grew, and then she was 2. She moved to the land of the giant house shoe. The shoe styles were good, it was hard to decide. She chose the high heel because of the slide. It didn't work out, the house made a squeak, and even worse, the walls were weak. Jade looked at the sandal, the shoes seemed weaker. The princess decided to move to the sneaker. The princess got bigger, she grew in height. She moved from her shoe when it got too tight. Jade returned home until she was 3. Then it was time to live in a tree. A nice mommy eagle gave Jade a used nest. The size was just right for the princess to rest. A bird came to visit, it was a parrot. It was so orange it looked like a carrot. "You've outgrown your nest," said a visiting wren. When Jade couldn't fit, she went home again. She lived in the palace until she turned 4. Then it was time to go and explore. She went to a jungle called Holes in Your Socks. There she discovered polka dot rocks. She explored and explored, then at last said, "No more. I'm tired, and remember, I'm still only 4. The princess grew bigger. She got to age 5. The time had arrived for the giant beehive. Jade had a feeling about this next trip. She made sure to pack her magic hair clip. The first thing she saw when she entered the hive were thousands of honeybees dancing the jive. The music and dancing made such a loud din, none of them noticed that Jade had come in. Jade looked around her at what was inside. She thought she might need a good place to hide. She slept through the night on a honeycomb floor. When she woke up, she tried to learn more. She peeled out to look, and what did she see? There on a throne sat the royal queen bee. Jade was astonished. What a strange scene. Thousands of bees taking care of the queen. Some brought the jelly the queen liked to eat. Others were cleaning to keep the hive neat. The queen bee roared out, "Who's here in my home? Who's hiding back there in my new honeycomb?" Jade walked right up. She wanted to cry, but she looked that queen right in the eye. "I'm Princess Jade. This trip was planned. I have to be here to fix my green hand." "Oh no," sighed the queen, "not another one. That means I assume that you've been to the sun. I know what you get when you visit up there, and it isn't a cute little teddy bear. We've had other kids sneak into the hive. All of them managed to get out alive. If you want to, too, let me give you a tip. You'd better hand over your magic hair clip." "Never," cried Jade, "it's my gift from the sun." She put on the hair clip and started to run. The bees swarmed around her. She couldn't get through. Then all of a sudden she knew what to do. She had to act quickly. Now was the hour. She needed to use the clip's magic power. Jade pulled the hair clip out of her hair. Then she waved the clip all around in the air. From out of the air came a dancing giraffe. All of the honeybees started to laugh. The giraffe pulled a shoe from the hat that he wore. The bees laughed so hard that they rolled on the floor. While no one was looking, Jade left the hive. She still had her hair clip. She was still alive. She quickly ran home. That girl made it snappy. When Jade got home safely, her parents were happy. At last the day came. The princess turned 6. The witch fixed her hand with her magic witch tricks. "Wow, look at that," said Jade, mothers the queen. "Jade's little hand is no longer green." The overjoyed princess did a double backflip. "But mother," she asked, "when's my next trip?" "Something is coming," the queen said to Jade. "Your biggest adventure, but don't be afraid. You're not going far, but there's much you'll see. The whole world is there. You'll learn more than me. A wondrous adventure, something way cool. Tomorrow, my darling, you're going to school." "Yippee!" Jade shouted. She hugged the queen tightly. She looked out the window. The sun shone brightly. Princess Charlotte and the Pea. Another happy book by Sally Huss. "If there is one thing a princess should be," said the prince, "it is to have the quality of sensitivity. She must be sensitive." This is what the prince demanded. And that is what Jacob had been commanded. Yes, the prince had told him, "Find a sensitive girl to be my wife, one I can live happily with all my life." So Jacob went to work stacking mattresses. He stacked mattresses upon mattresses, and still more mattresses. This was a tough job that he had been assigned. A true princess he had to find. He had devised a simple plan that he had been using throughout the land of hiding a tiny pea beneath stacks of mattresses so that he could see. Which girl would be sensitive enough to feel it? When he would find her, she would be it. She would be the princess he had been looking for, and his long search would be no more. He had gone to one village after another. Girls were brought in by their fathers, mothers, even a brother. In each village he stacked mattresses up high, and then let each of the town's girls give it a try. She had to try to feel something as small as a pea hidden deep within the stack. If she could, he would take her back. Back to the castle to meet the prince. This was a foolproof test that he had created. This was a cinch. So on this day, Jacob stacked and stacked, and when he was done, he again slipped a pea beneath 2 mattresses with his fingers and thumb. Then he helped each prospective princess climb the ladder. When she lay on top, he yelled, "Lie a little flatter." Spread eagle she lay there. He hoped she'd sense the pea. "I feel nothing," she called down, "it must not be me." She climbed back down with a saddened face and faced the others with some disgrace. "Next," called out Jacob, "keep moving along." Up went another girl, the line was still long. "Are you lying there?" Jacob asked, "as flat as can be?" "Yes," she answered, "but I can't feel a thing, it must not be me." Down she came, and another went up to the top. He wondered when his search for a princess would ever stop. "I feel a little something," he could hear the third girl call. "This is very uncomfortable, it feels like a ball. Is there a ball of some kind beneath one of the mattresses?" "Uh-oh," sighed Jacob. He hoped she wasn't one of those actresses, but tried to lie their way into their vase by trying to take a real princess's place. "No, now that I really feel it, it's not that big," called the girl from the top of the mattress rig. "It could be a pea that I feel." Oh my," cried Jacob, "a princess, for real." Come down, I need to take you to the castle." He was happy that he was now at the end of this searching hassle. "Goodbye, dear family and friends," waved the princess-to-be, Charlotte Devine. They waved back, happily calling out, "Have a fine time." Jacob helped her up on his horse-drawn carriage. "Thank you," said Charlotte, "for helping with my future marriage." Jacob and Charlotte rode away in his overstuffed wagon, with the mattresses piled on top a little bit sagging. When they arrived at the castle gate, it was very late. Off to bed Charlotte was escorted. In the morning, she was told, "Your new life will be properly sorted." "Good night," said Jacob to the princess-to-be. "I'm glad you're the one who sensed the pea." "Good night, kind Jacob," said Charlotte so sweetly. "Tomorrow," said Jacob, "everything will be arranged quite neatly." So the princess-to-be slept on a bed with no pea. She slept soundly and happily, not knowing what would be. In the morning, a rush of attendants washed her and dressed her, and even a priest came to the castle and blessed her. She was now ready to meet the prince. There was nothing about her that the prince could take offense. She was fed and cleaned and dressed to the gills in ribbons and pearls and taffeta frills. When the prince arrived, all stood at attention. Charlotte spoke first. "There is something I need to mention. I feel if there is one thing a prince should be, it is to have the quality of sensitive. He must be sensitive." The crowd found her comments somewhat provocative. "But," said the prince, "I'm a prince already, my dear." "In that case," explained Charlotte, "you have nothing to fear." "Jacob," she called out, "bring out the mattresses and let's see what he sees." Then she whispered in Jacob's ear, "Don't let him see, but hide 2 peas." So Jacob stacked the mattresses way up high. They practically poked a hole in the sky. Then he helped the prince as he climbed the ladder and whispered to him, "It works best if you lie flat, even better if you lie flatter." Once on top, the prince lay down. "Do you feel anything?" Charlotte inquired from the ground. "I feel a little something, a tiny little mound. In fact, there seems to be 2. That will do, Charlotte. That will do." When the prince returned, Charlotte continued, "Still, it's not enough to be sensitive enough to feel a pea. No, that's not good enough for me." Then she asked, "Who among of all these people have you slighted? When you have corrected that, then I'll consider you as knighted." The prince thought a moment, then gave Jacob a glance. Oh yes, he hadn't thanked Jacob when he had the chance. He hadn't thanked him for finding the girl who would be his princess for all time, the lovely and kind Charlotte Devine. After apologizing and thanking Jacob, the prince sank to his knees, then turned to Charlotte and asked, "Will you be my princess, please?" "Perfect," said Charlotte, now happy to be the bride of one so filled with sensitivity. A prince or princess is one who is sensitive and kind, one who knows what's on another's mind, and can ease their burden with a word or a glance, can raise their spirit and make their heart dance. It is not necessary that he or she wear a crown. In everyday people, such a person can be found. The end, but not the end of being kind and sensitive to the feelings of others. If you liked the story, give it a thumbs up below, and if you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in the next one.